Yesterday, there was a rumor. It was not confirmed, but today, on seeing the visuals, one is certain that he has been assassinated, and it also shows that how well this information and this kind of intelligence is being done by the CIA and Mossad, because they are still able to get across to the senior leadership in Iran in spite of this leadership knowing their movements are going to be watched or any intercepts of their communication are going to be monitored. So it also speaks very, very highly of the capability of Mossad as well as CIA and their intelligence network. And Iran, for the information of all the viewers, I would Mossad is fairly well entrenched inside Iran also. They have a number of informers who are part of Mossad also. So that is who are part of IRGC also, sorry. So this internal information leaked out, and there are people in IRGC who are also working for Mossad, because this is what I was reading also, a kind of analysis which was made in the print media. So I think this is a very, very serious development, and possibly a big blow to this war as far as Iran is concerned.
Right. Major Rajan Kochar, the question I have for you at this stage is, we understand that Ali Larijani was the bridge builder between Iran's military and political establishment. He was killed along with his son. And he was the one who was leading the dialogue, leading the negotiations with the US. And he's previously said that it is Israel which wants to which is unable to dominate a country like Iran of its size because of its lack of its own friends in the region, and etc., etc. And somehow US got entangled in the plan. And we also understand that Ali Larijani was actually opposed to the elevation of Mojtaba Khomeini as the supreme leader of Iran.
Yeah, there are certain reports available which suggest that all was not well in the transition council, and Mojtaba, you see, there'll always be a power struggle. Whenever a leader of the stature of Khomeini is going to be removed, there'll always be a power struggle, reach the highest position. So we are quite certain that this kind of a relationship does exist at the highest level. But I think in national interest, as far as Iran is concerned, they were able to settle out their differences and work together as a team. And what Iran was achieving in this war was fairly significant. And I think this will upset their plans to some extent.
That is one impact of this, their own plans as far as dealing with this war and their retaliation plans are concerned. But my question is, everybody is looking for an end to this war. At this stage, with the loss of Ali Larijani, do you think the US and Israel are close to finding that end to the war? And more importantly, will Iran relent after the loss of Ali Larijani?
No, I don't think Iran is going to relent, because it will further harden their stance now. Because in case you are killing their senior leaders like this, how can you expect Iran to capitulate? It is not going to capitulate at all. Its stance is going to be hardened, and this war is not going anywhere. I think it is likely to get prolonged, because Iran is not going to come onto the table very soon.
Iran is not going to come onto the table very soon, but there is huge pressure on the US and Israel to find a definitive end to it sooner than later from across the world, from European allies including. What do you think the US and Israel do at this stage in the aftermath of the loss of Ali Larijani? Do you think they'll further intensify that campaign to completely take out the leadership one after the other? Israel has said that whoever becomes the new supreme leader, they automatically become a target.
Krishna, you're absolutely right. They're not going to stop. And they're not going to stop at Ali Larijani, whosoever is going to come, if that person is not acceptable to them, he'll be eliminated, because that is a stance Donald Trump has taken. And in spite of the pressure from the European Union and other NATO allies, Trump is not is letting down his guard. He is continuing full throttle. And I believe now their plans in the morning, I think they use bunker busting bombs in all the mines sites in the state of Hormuz in the coastal area of Iran, and they will continue with this campaign. I don't think America is going to let up on this campaign now, because having eliminated a leader of the stature of Ali Larijani, I think it gives an additional boost to America to go after the other leaders also.
Fair enough. Major Rajan Kochar, please stay with us. We also have Major General S.P. Asthana, Defense and Strategic Expert, now joining us on the broadcast. Major General S.P. Asthana, thank you so much for being with us. We're continuing to get live visuals of this massive funeral procession in Iran for Ali Larijani. You know, the Iranian state media has described him, in their words, if I were to say, one of the country's prominent and prudent officials. That's what he is called, the man who binds the military and political establishment. He was killed when he was at his daughter's house, and he was killed alongside his son as well. Do you think this could be a pivotal moment? What kind of a pivotal moment do you think this could be for the war per se? Could this hasten the end to the war, or do you think this is going to prolong the war even further? Because those are the big questions on the minds of everybody.
It is going to prolong the war, certainly, for the simple reason because the kind of procession which you are witnessing and the kind of processions which were attended earlier, including the procession of the children, that has actually joined the population with the regime to some extent, and also united the entire Iran for a resolve to withstand and endure all the hardship which US and Israel are trying to throw at them. As far as every leader who is replaced, the second part is the other side of the story is he will be replaced by a much more hardliner than the previous guy. That is perhaps, and more the power will continue to go under the hands of hardliners and military and the IRGC, in my opinion. So apparently, there is no doubt that the demise of a leader of the stature of Ali Larijani certainly is a setback to Iran. It also, temporarily for some time, it does create a little bit of problems. But notwithstanding that, they all are mentally prepared, and they are going to withstand this and continue their fight. In my opinion, US is going to consolidate on this with a hope that they are able to perhaps find somebody who is softer, who gets scared and who can compromise with them, who could be perhaps used as a pawn to replace the military hierarchy there. But that seems to be quite difficult at this stage. But notwithstanding that, as far as destruction is concerned, US is going to continue with that. Degradation of the capabilities or the residual capabilities of Iranian military, they are going to continue. They are also, as far as Iran is concerned, they will continue imposing cost on President Trump and Netanyahu as much as they can. And because their arsenal will reduce, their capability to strike will reduce, their ammunition will also reduce. So what Iran is going to do is, in my opinion, they are going to now shift on to something like guerrilla warfare, or reducing the intensity of fire or the frequency of fire to harassing fire, and make the other guy react and conserve your ammunition. Because, see, the force preservation as well as their capability preservation is going to be the main aim of Iranian military as of now. And that they have to conserve, and they have to perhaps whatever they have, that capability, they have to make sure that they endure before the world opinion forces Trump and Netanyahu to back down.
Point, Major S.P. Asthana, you're talking about Iran becoming more hardline. Ali Larijani was the man who built that bridge in Iran between the conservatives and the moderates. And with him gone, there's a very good chance now that Iran could completely fall prey to the most extremist, the most hardlining leaders in the country.
Certainly. That's what I said, that all the moderate, if they knock off all the moderates, then certainly the generation which is going to come up is going to be much more hardliner. Like, just imagine, as far as Khomeini is concerned, he being killed, he was the one who gave fatwa for not making nuclear bomb. Now the next guy certainly need not follow, because he has to avenge. Firstly, he is the supreme leader. The next guy has to also avenge the death of his father, his family, his wife, his children, and everybody else. Therefore, his approach to U.S. and Israel will be much different and much more hardline than the previous guy. Same is the case here now. After Larijani getting killed, the next guy, whoever is going to come up, will be certainly much more anti these two powers, and will try and seek different methodologies to harm them and to impose cost on them. I also see, I mean, it may not happen soon, but
Yes, Sana, the other thing I want to talk about is the fact that, in fact, Ali Larijani is also being called as some kind of a de facto leader of Iran, because, Mujtaba Khomeini, is nursing a wounded leg. We don't know what exactly is happening with Mujtaba Khomeini, the so-called new supreme leader of Iran. And in the meantime, it is what we understand, at least from reports, is that it's Ali Larijani who's actually running the show, as far as the response to the retaliation in the war is concerned.
See, Ali Larijani is strategist. The other guy was more towards the, although he has also fought in the IRGC in Iraq war, but of late, or for a major portion of his life, he has been more on the side of the clerical, or shall I say, on the religious side. Ali Larijani has been a strategist, as a scholar, as well as a hardliner. So I think he was a mix of both, and therefore he was the one who was actually dictating or shall I say, organizing the war effort in a manner that is most cost effective. Now I think the leader who is going to come up next, he may not have that kind of reach or shall I say understanding, but then it will be more hardliner kind of response, in a manner reckless response, as I can say that. So it is the intensity of war is certainly going to increase for some time, till both sides start feeling the pinch of the expenditure of ammunition and their capabilities, because after all, neither Iranians.
On that point, I want to ask you. We know the missile stockpile from reports as what Iran has, about 3,000 is what we understand, including long range, mid range, short range, all kinds of missiles. A lot of them have already been used. So in that sense, this death of Ali Larijani has come at a time when Iran itself is running low as far as its own missile stockpile is concerned.
That is why I said that instead of conventional war, now they will switch on to harassing fire. That is, fire a couple of drones in 1 or 2 days on some sensitive target, and then let the Americans and Israelis react. So it will be something like what Hezbollah used to keep doing, or what Hamas was doing, that after 2-3 days fire just a couple of rockets and then let Israel keep jumping. So something like that will happen, harassing fire, guerrilla warfare. Say just fire a drone on some US related ship, and then let US keep reacting, because in any case I think they are now mentally conditioned to US bombing, and mentally conditioned to civilian casualties too, and the hardliners actually are not too much bothered as to how much are the casualties. Like Hamas, you would have seen beyond a point, Hamas was least bothered. They were actually firing when they wanted to, and they were fighting when they wanted to. So something like that will happen, which is certainly not going to be good for people of Iran, and certainly will not be good for the world as well. Because let's say, so many people keep saying that Trump, once he gets fed up, he will declare victory that, okay, I have destroyed everything and I am done. And I am victorious, and he withdraws. Now, this possibility is becoming slightly difficult now, because the moment he does that, after that, these hardliners will fire a couple of more rockets, and the Trump's claim that, okay, I have won, will go out of the window. Now, that is something which is ensuring that Trump remains in war and cannot withdraw in a manner in which he would like to. So this is a little complicated situation where I think Trump has got himself into. As far as Israel is concerned, they don't mind if America is stuck in this war and Iran gets weakened. That is their intention. They will continue. I don't think they will mind that as well. So from their perspective, and also you would have seen that some of the officials of United States have been saying that this was actually Israel war and Trump has gone into it. And one of them has resigned yesterday. So these are the things which are happening. I think slightly complicated, but let's see how it goes. But certainly, end of Larijani does not mean end of Iran's resistance.
Major Lesbi Astana, so far from the first day one of the war, when Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was killed, lots of questions about people in Iran celebrating the death of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and how the fact they're celebrating possibly the possible fall of the regime, all the discontent which came out in those protests, those brutal protests, how they were brutally quelled. Now many see like the light at the end of the tunnel. But do you think with successive strikes on Iran's top leadership and a war that the entire world is calling unnecessary, the people of Iran, even those who are dissenting, even those who are dissatisfied and oppressed by this regime, will now galvanize around this regime?
Certainly, for the simple reason because their hatred towards U.S. and Israel is increasing, and more than the top leaders getting killed, those girls students, bombing schools, and there have been more schools bombed thereafter, bombing of schools, death of more than 150 girls together. These are the signs which certainly are going to create a fair amount of hatred in the Iranian population against U.S. and Israel. There is no way, none of them, neither Netanyahu or Trump is popular there. Yes, people had some anger against Khomeini because of economic reasons, because of hardships which I think the ladies and the women folk was facing, and many other social reasons. But their hatred towards U.S. and Israel is no less. It was not less even then. What you actually see on media is a particular segment which becomes happy, and Western media, because they have the control on the narrative, control on the information warfare, they played up. They highlight that segment which was jumping and dancing when Khomeini got killed. There was fair amount of, you see the funeral of Khomeini thereafter, and you also see the way people came out despite bombing to support the cause of Palestine. They indicate that is only one side of the story and the minor side of the story. The major side of the story is nobody in Iran likes either Trump or Israel, and will not accept any puppet leader imposed by them.